watching Numbskull News, and today I'm going to talk about revenue sharing. It's on the way. We all know this. And one of the things people have some consternation about, will the Big 12 be able to afford revenue sharing, right? Because we're just some trailer trash out here. We don't have any money. Well, let me break it down for you. So, the news came out several weeks ago. $20 million. That's going to be the starting point for revenue sharing. Every team will have to unask $20 million, give it to the players. When will it start? 2026, maybe later. $20 million. Not 22 like was previously reported. 20. Now, it will go up over time. You deal with that when it comes. 20 million. Can the Big 12 afford per team to spend $20 million? Yes. And let me break it down for you. And this isn't any particular team. I'm sure a lot of people freaked out when they first heard a number like that because, holy shit, these teams only make $31.6 million per team. That's going to take most of the money. Well, that's not most of the money. There are payouts, if you remember. So let me break it down. Starting in 2026, the year of our Lord 2026, the Big 12's payout is going to be 12 point something million dollars a year just for the CFP playoffs per team. Okay? Which right now I believe it's around 5 million. So it's quite a bit of an increase. We're going to round it down. We're going to call it $12 million. That's a nice start to the 20, isn't it? It is. Now, naming rights. The numbers that have been thrown out, essentially it averages about $3 million a school for the naming rights for the Big 12. This worthless conference that nobody wants anything to do with. Someone's willing to shell out $3 million per school for the naming rights. Oh, okay. Neither here nor there. That's another $3 million onto the pile. So, now we're at $15 million. We're only $5 million away. And that's not touching your media rights. What I'm doing here will not touch it. The next thing. Big 12 Mexico. This thing's going to start kicking off. There's going to be bowl games. There's going to be basketball tournaments. There's also going to be women's soccer. There's going to be baseball. All this stuff is going to happen with special deals in Mexico. Monetarily, what is that worth? What is a bowl game in Mexico worth? Not sure. Like a starting point, because it would be a new bowl game, right? A Big 12 bowl game in Mexico. What does that look like? I don't know. Some bowl games, the lower bowls, they split a purse somewhere around, $800,000 or so. And plus, ESPN and Fox, they're going to broadcast select games from whether football games or basketball games that are happening in Mexico. So what is all that worth? What can the Big 12 hope to gain other than just exposure, getting into a new market, a new country, which is, ask the Dallas Cowboys how much they enjoy having all those Mexican fans because they have a plethora. You wonder why that one team, the Dallas Cowboys, who hadn't won jack shit since the mid-90s, why are they the biggest and richest franchise on earth? Well, because it's not just about one country or one state or one city. It's about moving your brand globally, everywhere. And this is what the Big 12's trying to do. So, I think when you really bust it down, I think you can count on maybe $1 million per team starting out that venture in Mexico. And that seems like maybe a low number doing all that, but I think that's appropriate. Now, you hope to grow and expand the kind of money you can make out of Mexico, but you got to start somewhere. So we'll call it 1 million. Okay. So now we're at 16 million overall. We're getting there. $4 million shy. The NCAA tournament. The men's basketball NCAA tournament. We get about $2 million per team out of that every year. And that's a pretty safe bet. It's a pretty safe bet we may get more, but for right now, that's a safe number. So now we're at $18 million, and we have not touched the media rights money yet. Something interesting though, the women's NCAA tournament, they have gotten a new deal. Haven't seen a lot of reporting on this, but it's a very lucrative deal. As a matter of fact, they're going to start gaining units just like the men. In other words, the Big 12 can earn a lot more money than they ever have off of women's basketball. Now, is it the men's? No, we're not there yet. But it is a pretty damn nice deal they just made. Just a huge, gigantic freaking raise. And it's not just for the Big 12. It's for all the conferences. But we're talking about the Big 12. So, what would that be worth? I believe the numbers that I've seen, I can kind of gather that it's probably going to be under $1 million per team a year. Right around. But I think there's enough programs in here and enough good quality women's basketball programs. I think you can get that to about $1 million. And now that's taken. Now remember, when I was talking about the CFP money that's going up in 2026, it's 12 point whatever, and I rounded down. Well, if you mix that with this new women's tourney, I think you could, $1 million per team is a very safe bet. So wouldn't you know it, that gets you to $19 million per team. Per team. You're not touching any, and I do mean any, of the media rights money to this point. Now, is there other ways you could squeeze out an extra $1 million? Things that maybe I haven't thought of? More than likely. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the Big 12 data deal that was supposed to happen. Good Lord, what, 8-9 months ago, somewhere in there? Well, as it turns out, that data deal and several others for other conferences have gotten squashed. Apparently, they're not sure of the exact amount of money they can make off of a data deal as far as the people paying like the Big 12. There's been a lot of weird laws with gambling, and not enough states have legalized it as what they thought. And really, there haven't been enough stories about it. I've only found like maybe one, because I was trying to figure out what was that data deal. Because I remember the data deal. I wanted to add that, of course, to the tally. But it appears that all the data deals, or most data deals that conferences were trying to get, have been killed off. However, they're still gambling. Could there eventually be a data deal in the next couple of years? Don't know. Could you get $1 million per team? I don't know that either. But it is something that can still come down the pike and end up being a nice little chunk of change for everybody to get you closer, or close that tiny little gap you have left, getting that $20 million. And of course, there's always new sponsorships that you can possibly get into, especially now that the Big 12 is going to have games on TNT and not just football games, but basketball games as well. So that's new corporate sponsorship opportunities for the Big 12. It may not increase your media rights deal, but you can still make some money off that shit, off of the exposure that Warner Brothers Discovery is going to give the Big 12. So there's a myriad of different ways that getting that last $1 million won't be much of a problem. So up front, to start, can the Big 12 afford revenue sharing of $20 million per team? Yeah, pretty easily, actually. And by the way, that's not even including any kind of private equity, in which the Big 12 is going to do eventually. Are we okay? Are we fine? Can we compete? Can this still be a conference? Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter what Desmond Howard or any other jackass out there wants to say about the Big 12. We're going to be around for a long time. This is going to be a fun, competitive conference in football, dominant in basketball, one of the best in baseball. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of with the Big 12. We're doing great. All right, we're not having to start with just two teams like the Pac 12 and try to rebuild with a bunch of G5s. We don't have to do that. The next time people want to shit on the Big 12, just remind them, hey, we're going to be doing revenue sharing just like the big boys. We all got NIL going. Everybody in the Big 12 recruits at a pretty high level. Not the SEC, obviously, and not most of the Big 10, obviously. But we do a pretty damn good job. So really, is there a reason for anybody in the Big 12, around the Big 12, to think that your team can't afford this? Of course they can. West Virginia can afford it. BYU is going to be able to afford it. Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, everybody. Everybody's going to be on board. Everyone can pay their players $20 million a year. And that gives you plenty of time. So when that amount starts creeping up over time, the revenue sharing amount, your revenues will continue to go up as well. So all is good in the hood, folks. Don't worry about it. We're going to be just fine. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.